Which do you say? Pop, soda, Coke? Ever had an argument over which is correct? Believe it or not, how we speak says a lot about where we're from and even who we are. And it's more than just small lexical differences like the difference between pop, soda, and Coke. The very sounds we use help shape our identity. Sociolinguists like Labov have studied this phenomenon, showing how speech changes based on gender, socioeconomic status, or geographic region, just to name a few. And it's also been well documented that people can consciously change the way they speak based on context. For example, when I speak with my friends in the audience, it's very different than when I speak to them during this presentation. And I can make that change fairly quickly. But other changes are much harder for me. For example, being a lifelong Hoosier, it would be very difficult for me to say, pack the cat and have it, yad, like an actual Bostonian would. But what if I moved to Boston and lived there for a while? Would my speech change? Would I want it to? That's where my research comes in. I conducted 2 voice-recorded in-person interviews, one with Samuel and one with Ryan, where I elicited informal speech by asking them to tell me about their friends, family, childhood, which in turn gave me their linguistic history. You see, Samuel and Ryan are brothers, born just over a year apart on Long Island in New York City. They are both white men who received 4-year degrees from colleges in upstate New York. But then in 1989, Ryan decides to move to Massachusetts near Boston to be closer to his future wife. And in 1990, Samuel and his wife decide to move to Indiana to start a family. So what happens to the speech of 2 brothers from such similar backgrounds when they suddenly move far apart? I found multiple phonological differences in their speech. And one example can be seen when both brothers discuss their father, who was a World War II veteran. And it's in that word war that we see a key phonological difference. If they had the same speech, this black and white spectrogram would look nearly identical. But it doesn't, because Samuel says war, similar to how I say it and how you might say it. And Ryan, well, he says war, meaning he drops the R, which is a common occurrence in Boston speech. But why is this important? Well, it's important because both of these brothers identified as being from Long Island, and yet they also identified their home as being the place where they currently live and raise their families. They have created this new life in their new home, accommodating their speech to match that of their new friends and their children who were raised in these new linguistic landscapes. It's important because it reminds us that even though we don't get to choose where we were born or where we grew up, we have the ability to shift or maintain our own speech patterns to shape our very identity. Thank you.